I'm gonna say when I was in college, I was genuinely a starving artist, like in the literal sense. Like literally, I would buy art supplies and not food. And I think that says a lot. And then it really does says a lot. Like you'd rather create and make your voice heard than nourish your body.
Fork in the road between thriving and starving artists is where I'm at. I really like your work. I can't eat lights. I need new heights. Just want to make a living doing the work I love. Throw the notion of a starving artist out the window. Take the elevator down to the ground floor and jump on it some more.
Hello and welcome to the Fork in the Road podcast again. And today I am lucky enough to be speaking with Chris Choi, aka the Mecha Panda, who you can find on Instagram. With his mind-blowing sculptures, I've been continually blown away by what you've been putting out there. Welcome, Chris. How are you doing today?
What's up? Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for joining me. And so with sculpture, has that always been your main medium of choice as an artist?
No, actually, I'm drawing and painting. I just started sculpting in like 2 years ago.
Yeah,
So
wow.
it's I mean, I sculpted a little bit in college, but really it was not a thing. I was more doing like graffiti and like comic book art, you know? And
Yeah,
honestly, for the
right.
last 10 years, before I started doing this 2 years ago, I didn't make any art for like 10 years.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
life.
yeah. I noticed that on your Instagram. I think you said, yeah, 10 years off. What brought you back? What lured you back?
I think for that 10 years, I was newly married, trying to keep the marriage going, make money, you know. And now I'm back in a spot where I can comfortably start to focus on art again, you know.
Yeah.
Just life.
Yes.
Life, man. Life got in the way.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Like I've been the same. I started off creative and then had to make money and then at some point I was pretty much basically when I had kids and I
That'll do
became
it.
a stay-at-home dad and so yeah got interested in kids books that way. So like you take these moments when you can, don't you, and just roll with them, which is really cool.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, what was the first so back to your childhood, like where did is that where your art interest started? And did you branch into creative careers, or have you been
Um,
is your work side been in a completely different field from your creative work?
yeah, so I definitely was always into art, like growing up. That was my thing, like, period. And then, yeah, I went to art school, went to art college, and then honestly, I wanted to do fine art, like just paint and sculpt or whatever, but I didn't want to be poor. So I learned to do design, you know?
Yeah.
And so I've been doing design, at least it's somewhat in the art field. So it kept me somewhat satisfied as far as creativity goes.
Yeah. Are you working like is it your own business, or are you working with other designers, or how does that?
No, so I'm at Chegg, which is a educational platform online, and I'm in their marketing advertising department. So
Okay, yeah,
eh,
cool.
I'm the only one on the team now. AI is killing us. They fired everybody.
Yeah, right. That's very sad to hear, and interesting as well, as one of those things that I wanted to talk to you about, because I know on a lot of your posts you say like this is not AI, and
Yeah,
um
you'd be
and
surprised how
and
many people think my work is AI.
and I think why, because it and not to be critical, but it's like it is very perfect. Like it's beautiful, and AI tends
Awesome.
tends to make tends to make those very images like that, and you seem to have a really good eye for presenting your work, because I feel it's like
Ah, nice.
it's one thing to be able to create a sculpture like you've created, but then it's another thing to be able to photograph it and capture it the way you do.
Totally.
Yeah. So have you got a big photography background as well, or is that just an interest
Yeah,
that you've
just a
had?
little bit. Yeah, I mean, honestly, being in marketing. So I've been in marketing for like almost 20 years straight out of college. So I think I learned what I need to know there as far as presenting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think I totally agree with you. You could be the best artist in the world, but if you can't present it well, then people aren't going to take it as, freely and as the way you'd like them to. So,
Yeah. Do you have a studio set up at your house for
no,
like
here,
taking those?
I'll literally show you. That's it, man.
Oh
That that
wow.
that that's it. I
So
shoot
like,
everything on my phone.
yeah, so like a desk and a ring light, and you're
Yep,
away.
yep.
Yeah, cool.
That's it. I got one
Yeah,
of those little
nice.
spinny things off of Amazon.
Yeah.
That's it.
Is that what it is? I was going to ask you, like, so your 360-degree rotations are like beautifully done.
Yep. I just
Yeah.
bought one of these off Amazon.
Ah, cool. I didn't realize that was a thing.
It's great because
Nice.
comes with a remote,
Yeah.
so you can. Yeah, it's really really easy for this kind of like 3D work.
Yeah. Yeah. Here's me thinking you'd kind of like adapted a turntable or something.
Yeah, no,
and I and I thought, how
but
do you
you
get
know
it so
what?
consistent like that? Yeah.
No, dude. You want to see my airbrush booth? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah.
So I took a fan and duct taped it to a plastic box,
Yeah.
foam the gaps, and then
Oh,
that's my airbrush booth.
yeah, I love that. I love that.
So save a couple $100, so it ain't too bad.
Yeah, yeah. I get stinky in there sometimes.
Oh man, dude, the fumes are ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah. So what drew you to you said you wanted to be fine artist, painter, and all of that. What drew you to sculpture after all this time?
I got painting and drawing. I got bored.
Hmm.
Does that make sense? I just got bored with it.
Yeah,
Like I've
yeah,
been doing it for my whole life, and I felt like I'd like to bring it off the page, and be able to like see it in 3D. And I'm not a 3D sculptor either, so I don't know how to do any of that.
yeah,
So yeah, I just grabbed some Sculpey one day and just started going at it.
yeah. So
And
you're completely like self-taught in
oh,
sculpting.
as far as sculpting goes, 100%. I've never taken a class or
Wow.
anything.
Wow.
It's been a wild adventure. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
teaching myself every time, like a brand new project.
yeah. And what sort of materials are you using for that?
So lately, I've moved on to this new stuff, which is great. It's Magic Sculpt.
Hmm.
It's a two-part resin epoxy, so I can manipulate it and work with it for a couple hours until it air dries completely hard, like
Yeah, right.
ceramics. Yeah, which is great because it's stronger than ceramics.
Wow. And is that like originally an art supply kind of product?
Yeah, it's actually used in a lot of museums for like
Hmm.
dinosaur bones.
Ah,
Yeah, so a lot of like repairing ceramics or, doing the big dinosaur sculptures,
yeah,
because they have to repair them and do a lot of gaps, and fill in the gaps and stuff.
yeah, yeah.
I actually order it from a museum.
Oh, right, okay.
They're the cheapest price I can find.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, no, I used to work with those two-part epoxy products a while back. I was boat building of all things, and yeah, it's really stinky stuff. Is it still
Oh yeah.
like that? Pretty noxious.
Well, this one's not too bad. I've used other products where it's like you almost need a ventilation, but this one's not
Yeah.
too bad.
Mm,
I like it because it has a long cure period. So it's malleable
mhm.
for a pretty long time before I can't do anything to it.
Yeah. And with your ideas, I mean, they're amazing conceptual ideas. I'm just wondering, where do they go start? Do they start on paper? Do you illustrate them out, or do you go straight
Uh,
to sculpting? Or
so I will literally will do I can't my sketches for sculptures are literally chicken scratch. I'm literally just thinking
okay,
the basic shape. And then
yeah,
a lot of my stuff I'm gonna say is more just like flow of consciousness. Like literally I know the basic idea of what I want, you know?
hmm,
And then while I'm sculpting, I'm just like, okay, I'll add this here, and then it just kind of spontaneously happens. It's
yeah,
uh it's my ADD brain, I think, man. I don't think I can
yeah,
I'm not good at planning, you know?
yeah, yeah. So it's just something you see in your head, and you just, or is it something that becomes apparent the more you start chipping away at it or sculpting
I
it?
think I have a good idea of what it's gonna be before I even start. Yeah. But
Yeah,
in just a basic form. I'm gonna say the
hmm,
details and stuff, those are all coming out while I'm sculpting.
yeah, yeah, right. So with the Hollowhead series, how many of those do you have at the moment?
Ah, I'll give it a little tour. I think I got a total of so I've done a bunch of miniatures and stuff and sold those
Yeah.
off. But
Oh, cool.
there's a
Oh, wow. There's the
there's
gallery.
a yeah. My collection of expensive paperweights. This one's my favorite
Yeah.
though. I love her.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
latest beauty.
Yeah. Very
So yeah,
cool.
this is the one of the hollow heads.
Yeah.
Another one.
Yeah. Yeah. So for those people who are listening on the podcast, the Hollowhead series is like a face sculpture, but with usually the face is kind of scooped out and filled with flowers, or sometimes clocks and cogs and things like that. You've really got a
Yeah.
mix of what draws you to, like, you seem to find this balance between horror and beauty. Um, I just wonder, where do you think all that comes from?
Yeah, so that's another I've definitely got a little dark twist to my stuff. It's one thing my dad's actually an artist, but not anymore, but he was always begging me growing up, could you please draw something kind? Like,
Find.
yeah. I was just like, I just don't want to though. Like I'm not drawn to that. And even when they do
Yeah.
something kind, there's usually something hidden in there that's twisted you know, it's just the world's not kind, man.
No.
It's it's not. And
Yeah,
I'm in America right now and shit is pretty rough these days.
that's a bit unkind. Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, you look in nature as well. Like I find this really interesting balance, um, because and having kids, you notice this is like is the balance of, so there's all these wild animals in nature, and we love lions and we love tigers and all this kind of stuff, but it's all predator and prey. Like, these things are like
Yeah.
eating the other things, and they die horribly,
Yeah.
and it's nature, and nature can be beautiful and horrific at the same time. So I kind of see how they go
100%.
hand in hand. Yeah,
Absolutely. I mean, I don't know. I think growing up, I've just always been drawn to that. You know, like my favorite movie is Aliens, the James
yeah.
Cameron one. You know, it's I love H.R. Geiger. I love that dark look. I don't know what it is. It's I don't look like that though. Too. I'm a very people. I look like I did really well in school, and but I didn't. It's weird. I don't know. I have a different. I've definitely had a darker outlook on life than people think I do. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So how did you like? I always find it interesting how when artists, people who are like really creatively driven, what they do to earn money and to survive when they first start out, whether they can somehow get into creative fields or they're doing like me. I did things which were as I said, I was a boat builder for many years. And I did all
Yeah,
kinds of
totally.
like weird ass shit to make ends meet. So what was the path for you?
So here's one thing. As far as all that goes, I'm gonna say I've been very lucky. Um, so after college, I my first job was Yahoo. So I worked at Yahoo as my first job right out of college, and I'm not gonna lie, it was amazing. So
Hmm.
yeah, and that helped out a lot. I mean, honestly. But again, like I said, things at that time, I got married and was just worried about keeping my life together, so I wasn't creating.
Hmm.
Like I wasn't making art. And like I said, now I'm at the point where I can get back into that. So
Just a quick intermission to say that the Fork in the Road podcast has a Patreon as well, where you get a whole bunch of special things. You get an extended hour-long advert-free things, like you get to ask the podcast guests questions. You get a blog where I deep dive things which, might help make you successful and me successful, because I'm learning along the way too. You can also chat with me one-on-one and talk about your art business and make it work together. Back to the interview.
I actually in my last group show, the curator, she dropped my sculpture and it just shattered all over the ground.
Oh,
I was like,
oh,
what the fuck?
oh man.
So, yeah, dude, it sucked. And
Yeah.
I couldn't, I'm too nice. I couldn't be like, you need to pay me for that. Like, I couldn't
Yeah.
do it.
Can you get? I mean, you obviously can get insurance, but that must be ridiculous getting insurance for the
Sure.
art.
It'd be
Yeah.
more of a pain in the ass, so I just let it go. I think it's something I
Yeah.
can repair.
Yeah. You could. Yeah, I suppose it depends how badly it's smashed, but you could turn it into a bit of the sculpture's story. Like it's part of this.
Oh yeah, totally. A seller
And just
or a buyer would love the story. Yeah, totally.
yeah. Or you could sell all the pieces, separately or whatever. Or yeah.
Yeah, right. Dude,
I'm always trying to think
there's
of
this
how to
one
milk the
oh
situation for.
no, there's this awesome. I don't remember their name. They're an art collective, and they bought a Dolly print, right? And then they cut it into 200 pieces and sold each
Oh,
little piece at a huge markup, right?
yeah,
What an idea! What an idea!
yeah,
You know what I mean? And they ended up making a 10,000% profit. Because
yeah.
so you can own this little corner of a Dolly painting or whatever, and it's
Oh, yeah.
real. It's an actual thing, and you get to own a little piece of it. It's genius. It's also shitty, but it's genius.
Yeah, yeah. It kind of, but it's a statement as well. It's a statement on how shitty
So,
people can.
so yes, so the collective, their whole thing is about
Yeah,
making fun of capitalism.
yeah,
Like that's their whole thing. It's just making fun of capitalism and the modern art industry. Uh,
yeah,
I'll find their name and send it to you. You should really check
yeah,
them out. They're amazing. They did another one where they bought a Picasso print and
yeah.
they reproduced it 200 times and then stuck the original into the pile, mixed it up so
Ah,
you'd never be able to find it again, right?
yep.
And then
I've
they
heard. I've
sell
heard
them
of that.
all off. Yeah, and they sold them all off at a high price, and no one knows who has the real one.
Yeah,
Genius.
yeah.
Genius.
It's genius, but then not artist, but it's genius at the same time.
But
Well,
yeah, no, I get it. Is that
well,
art? I don't know.
it kind of is.
It's
yeah,
almost
it's the most.
performance art. It's crazy. It's like a con man art. I don't know what that is, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
definitely interesting. It's interesting. So
Yeah, I'd kind of love to. I mean, I find that stuff fascinating. There was a guy, you might have heard this one as well, who sold an $18,000 sculpture that doesn't exist. It's just
yes, it's like
it's
just a
just a
blank space,
it's
right? Or
just a
like a
platform.
square where it should have been. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh,
I just
mind
think.
blowing.
So what is that? Is that all artist statement, and is it the
Ah,
artist? But because I don't know how many people go back and research the artist to see how that artist got to that point where they get commissioned. I think he was
I'm,
commissioned to make it,
I'm sure he
and
was by some rich dude. Like I hate this stuff
yeah,
so much, man. Honestly, like, so I've heard this great quote. I forgot who said it, but modern art is an excuse for no technique.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
love that because it's very true.
yeah,
A lot of it.
yeah,
I
yeah,
see the value. Like, what do you think? Like, a lot of like, I see value in some of it, but then some of it,
mm,
I'm just like straight on. This is a cop out. Like,
yeah. Yeah, and I also want to, like, I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist or something like that, but art is at the soul of people. Creativity is at the soul of people. It's very, it's very deep within us, and
yeah,
it's something which is a way of expressing our individuality and our humanness. And if in some ways, like the system that be can crush the artist by basically selling invisible sculptures and creating AI art, which is, just as good as the stuff I've been working on for 15 years. Maybe we can crush the artist's creative spirit and they'll just give up. You know,
yeah.
but because there's a revolutionary kind of tone to a lot of art, like,
Oh,
and it's
artists have
dangerous,
throughout, absolutely, absolutely, throughout history, artists are the ones who are talking against that powerful regime that's trying to, keep everyone under their foot. It's absolutely, and I see that. I can totally see that,
Yeah,
especially what's happening here right now in the States.
yeah,
It's kind of crazy. So,
yeah, yeah. And you were mentioning that whole situation, the rising cost of, with all the tariffs and stuff like that, the cost of making the art and living, and I was very sad to read that you were thinking, maybe I just have to go back to working full time or something.
yeah, dude, sculpture's not cheap. Like painting. I'm not saying painting is cheap, but trust me, a
Yeah,
canvas and paint is much cheaper than like. So I get this. That's a 20-pound bucket, and it comes
yeah,
two parts. It's almost $200. That's
yeah,
just for this, and that's not including all my other supplies, the paint and everything else, armature
hmm,
wire and all that. Like sculpture is very expensive, and if I do a big piece, that stupid cross thing cost me several $100, just to put that together. You know what I mean? And that's with no guarantee
yeah,
of even anyone buying it. So
yeah, yeah.
I
It,
think my medium that I've chosen is it can be a little it's daunting. Like I'm afraid like later on I don't know what if I want to make the things I want to make, can I afford to do it on my own? Like,
mhm,
you know what I mean? Like it's coming out of my pocket.
mm,
People aren't buying my art. Not enough at
mm.
least.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know. It seems to be you're doing the right things, and I mean you're creating amazing work. I mean the only thing I could suggest is the thing with the website and the email address, and
Yeah.
I just keep showing up as a person. I think. I mean you speak very well to camera, and like
No.
I'd never heard your voice before. I think maybe putting yourself out there as well in front of a
Oh,
camera a bit. I know
yeah,
you
that
probably
you
hate that
remember
idea,
at
but
oh man, I told you at the beginning, I'm so awkward in front of the camera. I don't feel comfortable, so it bothers me. I don't even like
yeah,
talking on my reels. If you notice, I don't talk to the camera.
yeah, yeah. But
But I think you're right. I think you're right. I think I need to start doing some of those and maybe make a little more connection with my followers and stuff. So
yeah, yeah. But I mean, there's lots of really interesting ways to do it. I've found there's a lot of people that speak directly to camera, and I find that quite difficult. With me, I try and do like I talk while I'm drawing. Speaking directly to camera by myself is incredibly awkward. Um, and sometimes people will just do like if you do check out Gork's art, there's a lot of narration. So like he'll be
yeah, like
going through his
voiceover.
day. Yeah, yeah, and there'll be a shot of him carrying a piece of artwork up the stairs and then sitting down at the desk and doing this. And he won't be talking to camera at all. So there's lots of ways around it if you don't because talking to camera straight on, dead on is very challenging, I think.
Yeah. It's weird. I'm just so like uncomfortable. I've never been good at this. Like I don't like public speaking either.
Yeah,
Awkward.
yeah. Yeah, well, if it makes sense, I've always been like that as well, and I get nervous before every time I come on a podcast as well. So like,
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I was telling my wife, I'm like, oh yeah, I've never done this, man. This is my first time doing any interview or anything like that. So
yeah. But one of your posts that you had on Instagram, I laughed, and it was very but it had a lot of poignancy to it as well. As like you say, you watch professional bowling for 5 minutes, and you realize, and you came to the conclusion that life is meaningless. I'm just
yeah.
wondering, in the humor of that, I'm just wondering what does art bring to life and to your life personally?
Go day to day. I literally wake up and I will look at the internet and then I'll drive around and I'll just see what people are spending their time on.
Hmm.
And it makes me sad. Like I genuinely get sad by it. And I feel like creating and it's really hard to explain for me. It's something that's beyond this vapid lifestyle that most people are living these days. I feel it's deeper than that. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
anyone can buy a nice car and polish it and show all that off, you know? But if you're at home and you're really genuinely trying to create something and show people what's inside of you, I don't know. I think that's everything. It's everything. Like I'm not a flashy car guy. I'm not into clothes and like all this. It's all meaningless, in the end. I don't know. I think it's valuable. That's what I think it is. There's value in it. And a lot of stuff being created these days I just don't see any value in it. How's it helping
yeah,
anyone or even making a thought happen instead of
yeah,
making thoughts not happen, you know?
yeah, yeah. It's almost a rebellious act in a way, creating something as opposed to
These
being a
days,
passive.
yeah,
Yeah, being a
totally.
passive consumer, it's too easy to be a passive consumer, and it's been made more addictive every day. And
100%.
to say, yeah. I've done an interesting thing. Speaking of like that addiction to doom scrolling and stuff like that, because I've got
So
like
bad.
my phones are pretty old. I run them right to the end, but because I've got a couple of phones, I have one phone which is just my phone and my emails and stuff like that, and I've got my other phone that I keep at home when I'm actually working with all the social, so I can post on social media and stuff like that. And I've
Yeah.
found this massive, like, because I don't know if I've got ADHD. I haven't been kind of what do you call it, tested for it, but
Yeah.
I've done a lot of online tests and go, yeah, I'm rating extremely high on ADHD,
E-
and this stuff does not help at all. Yeah,
At all.
like
Not
trying
at
to
all.
focus on
I'm
anything.
right there with you. I'm pretty sure I am. I've never been
Yeah,
tested or anything, but I'm pretty sure I am. And none of this is helping me. You're absolutely correct, man.
yeah. So yeah, I think it's good to try and. So my phone that I've got is what I try and create work on. So if I've got free time, you're at the doctor's office or something like that, I'm actually creating work. I'm not consuming work instead. So
That's awesome.
yeah,
I need
I,
to stop scrolling so much, honestly.
yeah. I mean, you do get inspiration. I get a lot of inspiration. I mean, that's how I found you online and that, and seeing the amazing stuff that you're doing. And there's so many artists that just are mind blowing, which is
It's
inspiring.
ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, but then sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, I'm scrolling through Instagram, I'm like, why am I even fucking trying? Like, you see some stuff on there, you're like, wow. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah. But I think it's your voice, and I think artists, part of being an artist is like there's the art, and then there's the artist, and I think it's almost like a 50-50 split. Like like
Oh,
the artist's
absolutely.
personality is in the work, you know, and it's not just the art, something nice to
I
pretty up a
agree with
room.
that 100%. But then sometimes I feel like I hate how much of art is cult of personality too, you know?
Mm.
Like definitely a lot of artists are big just because of their personality and not because of their art.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like Andy Warhol. Like, don't get me wrong, great. I loved what he did, but like, he was a weird dude that people thought was interesting.
yeah.
Screen prints of soup cans aren't that interesting.
It's difficult for us. You see a lot of the artists, like as you say, like Salvador Dali, and they're all kind of like, if you mention any kind of famous artist around who is been around since there's been television and photography and stuff like that. The ones probably that you can name are the ones that are like, don't mind getting there front and center with all of that stuff.
100%. Yeah, they're eccentric and like Dolly used to go on talk shows and stuff.
Yeah, with an anteater.
Yeah,
Have you
right?
seen that one?
Oh, I love that. I love that. Dude, that guy, he's my single biggest influence. Definitely.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's your work definitely does have that surreal feel, and actually I can see a bit of a Dali influence there too in some of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm going to see his museum in his hometown this fall. So excited.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that
That
should
would
be
be super,
really
super
cool.
cool. I hope you're going to post some photos of that if you're allowed to.
Oh,
I don't know
I
if you're allowed to
absolutely
take
will.
photos.
I'm gonna do it anyway.
Yeah, cool. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Chris. And
Nah, man.
so,
Thanks for having me.
everybody listening and watching on the podcast, go check out the Mecha Panda, and yeah, I will link it in the show notes as well. And
Right on.
yeah, if you got anything in the future you would love to jump on and chat about, or any shows coming up, or anything that you want to let everyone know about, that would be cool.
Cool, brother. Sounds good.
Cool. Cool. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to the Fork in the Road podcast, or watching the Fork in the Road podcast. For those people watching on Patreon, we also have it as a video on Spotify and YouTube. If you like the idea of chatting with artists, talking about how you go from starving to thriving, how you become a successful artist, whatever that means to you, whatever a thriving artist means. If you like this kind of thing, you can support the podcast in many ways. Apart from becoming a Patreon, you can just share it with your friends, or you could leave a review on iTunes. I think iTunes do review. Whoever does reviews, if you look in your podcast channel, if it allows you to do a review, or if you're watching on YouTube, please comment, please like, you know, and I won't be one of those podcasts that go, you know, you got to give a 5-star review. If there's something about the podcast you don't like, let me know. Write it in the comments and see if I can, you know, tweak it a little bit to make it work better for everybody. But yeah, 5-star review would be pretty awesome. But anyway, check you next time.